So I think what we want to do now is add some kind of animation where, let's say, here's the positive X direction. Let's say we want to have this sort of bend in the positive X direction as this breeze is coming through. So here's where we're going to bring in our time-based motion. So we can say our breeze amount is going to be, we can use a sine wave, and let's pass in this thing called time.y. And again, I can link to the built-in Unity variables. This is one of them. The .y part is giving us the seconds. So this is just a running counter of the time. And so we can multiply in some kind of like breeze speed here. Let's just say 2. Let's see what that looks like. And let's transform this to a 0 to 1 range, right? Remember, sine gives us -1 to 1. And so we want to just transform that to 0 to 1 so we can do all of our tricks with it. And then we've got our breeze amount. So now what we can do is we can say object space dot x plus equals breeze amount, and we can say breeze amplitude equals 1. And let's actually rename our breeze amount to breeze t. That shows this is kind of like the parameter that's controlling it. And then this amplitude is going to be the actual displacement amount that's going to be applied when we have the maximum breeze t parameter. Okay, so we can see what that looks like. That's not exactly what I had in mind because it's moving the entire blade of grass. So again, you can see we just want to apply this as the blade of grass is going up from the base. We don't want to apply it to the base. And so what we can say is breeze mask equals, we can do another one of these easing functions. Let's start with just the, without the easing. We can use our texture coordinate to mask that, and then we can remember to multiply in our mask. And so now we're getting this blade of grass kind of swaying like that. Okay, okay, but I mean, again, we're seeing this linear motion, right? So let's try to add some kind of mask to this that's more interesting. So again, we can do like an ease in, I think, on this one. And what does that look like? Okay, so now we can see that this is sort of having more of a curve to it there, to the shape that's being applied. And then let's slow this breeze down, because I'm thinking that this should be sort of more of a like very slow breeze that's coming in and out. And then what we can do is we can add a flutter to this that's more of a faster displacement. So what we can say is down here, our flutter speed is going to be much faster, like let's say 15. And so then our flutter t, we can multiply that in. And then we can do something similar here and just change this to flutter. And then we'll take our flutter t, just replace all these, and let's see what that looks like. Okay, so obviously the flutter, as I was describing it, should have a lower amplitude than this breeze that's going to be moving it more. Okay, so that's a little bit more like what I had in mind. I think the breeze amplitude might want to be more than that. And then this flutter, I think is pretty good. I think it could even be faster, like 20, let's say. And then what I think could be cool as well is if we take this breeze t, remember this goes from 0 to 1, and what we could do is we could multiply our flutter t by our breeze t, so that way we only see this flutter when there is a breeze. Okay, so there's a breeze currently, then it comes in, then it's still. And it might be nice actually if we see a little bit of that flutter even when there's no breeze, but not, right? So if we could do something like that, that will say that there's like 50% constant flutter, and then we're adding in 50% of the flutter is contingent on this breeze being there. So then like, what's that look like? Okay, so I think we could even, be more, sort of just have just a tiny bit of the flutter when we're sort of more at rest there. Okay, so I think that's pretty good, but right now we're just working on a single blade of grass, right? So what happens here if we start copying these out and we start populating like a field of grass.